Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're here and we're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. Now let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's going on? I am him is me, him is he is the Sultan of Silliness, the three-time GameStop champion, the Golden Skate Golden Boy. It is King Kimi at Jimmy's Jam Box. What's goody, baby?
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello, dude. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really
Super
appreciate
excited
it.
to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about, where you're from, what you do. Give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with not just music, but other stuff.
Yeah, the Tinder profile. 6'1", by the way. Do what you will with that information.
Facts. The camera is so far back right now.
Yeah, I'm huge. So, let's see. My name is King Kimi. I make pop R&B music, and I'm based out of the Vancouver, Portland metro area. I was born on a little tiny rock in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. My parents immigrated here when I was young. We bopped around Orange County, went around to Chicago until we laid base down here in Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So I've spent practically all of my formative years up here in the Pacific Northwest. And yeah, man, I'm a musical artist. I'm a podcaster, comedian, writer, hustler. And yeah, that would be the Tinder profile for King Kimi, for sure.
I'm sure you hit the letter limit somewhere back at hustler.
Well, when you pay for Tinder Gold, baby, there are no letter limits. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I dig that.
Yeah.
Now, as this is a music focused show and you are a musician,
that's what I've been told.
let's dive into it. Do you play any instruments?
Yeah. So I play a little bit of everything, right? Everyone says that. I'm shitty at the guitar. I'm shitty at the bass. But I grew up playing the piano. I took piano lessons for years.
Okay.
I also, not gonna lie, I fucking rip at the ukulele. Yeah, shred. I've got 3 ukuleles, very expensive. Yeah, my sisters play really well. It's kind of a family thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I grew up playing that. And yeah, dude. Let's see, dude. I fucking started piano lessons when I was probably 12 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom was just she just wanted me to do shit. And my mom was heavy in music. She grew up in the choir and whatnot in her homeland, and she just wanted me to be a part of something. So they got me on the piano lessons early, and then the ukulele came with the family business, I guess. So. Yeah, shitty at everything besides the piano and the ukulele.
Okay, well, hey,
Yeah.
that's still a solid lineup.
Yeah, it's not
And
too
bad. Piano's a good instrument to be good at. I think it helps.
Yeah, it's the basis of everything I've done so far.
True.
For sure.
True.
So it's we'll just dive in. Hold on. So it's I'll just dive into how this whole spiel started.
What
right?
got you into music initially? Why
Yeah,
don't we do that?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was super duper into rap, R&B, and pop. Those are my 3 main genres. Mm-hmm. And to this day, those are my 3 favorite genres.
Understandable.
Yeah.
They're quality genres.
Yeah, straight up. And so when I was 9 years old, I wrote my first 16-bar rap.
Okay.
I don't even remember what I wrote, but it was probably explicit because...
Well, we happen to have it here.
Yeah, here we go. But my auntie found it. And I wrote it on this little notebook, and I stuffed it in my drawer. And my auntie found it, and she was livid. I don't know what I wrote, but it was obviously explicit enough where she was she got pretty angry at me. And then my mom was like, what the heck? And I grew up Catholic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my mom was really heavy in the church too. So 9 years old, they were looking at this rap, and they were like, first of all, they were just like, don't ever do this again.
Yeah.
Okay. And then secondly, they were just like, if you're interested in music, we're going to put you in the church then. And so that's how I got started with all this shit, to be honest with you. They put me in the church choir, the children's church choir.
Yep.
And I just started singing, dude. And then fucking people were like, hey, you're pretty good at singing. And I was like, I guess, whatever.
Modest too.
Yeah. And I was spending all day at the church, you know, like all my free time after school was at this damn church.
Yeah.
The best thing that came out of that was that I learned how to read sheet music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so fast forward, I started singing in middle school and shit like that. And then fast forward to when I got to high school. And then this is kind of the all-encompassing, definitive moments of my musical career, I guess.
Because, your ascension to
music. My
music.
ascension to what I am now, I guess, right? So my high school was really well known for their music program. We had a really strong music program, both band and choir, and they were really well known for putting students in positions to get musical scholarships. Yeah. I had no fucking idea that this was a thing, okay? I didn't know people went to college to sing and blah, 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 yada, yada.
Yeah.
I stepped into this choir room, dude, and it blew my mind. It was literally like, I mean, this choir room looked like the Los Angeles Lakers trophy room, okay? It was fucking crazy. Like, it was like they had this high shelf, and it went 360 degrees all around the room, and they would stack their trophies and medals and all the accolades next to each other, and it went around the whole entire room. It was insane.
Damn.
And the band had way more. They had way more accolades because they competed more.
Yeah.
And then this is when I learned about like singing competitions and things of this nature. And I I'm 14 years old, 15. I had no fucking idea what was going on, dude. I was literally just like, I'm looking at all these people, they're taking it seriously. You know, they're dialed in.
Yep.
I'd only joined choir because one, my mom wanted me to do it.
Because my mom said I had to.
Because my mom said I had to. And two, so I was trying to hang out with smoking hot babes. And there was a lot of smoke shows in choir. So I was like, fuck it, I'll stick around here. You know, it's kind of more my area. And I didn't think anything of it, man. And then I was going to quit because I was like, this is getting pretty hard. Because it honestly was, because that's when they started
It's a lot of work.
They started punching us with theory. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what the fuck is all of this? I knew how to read sheet music at that point, but it wasn't any, that's the standard.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is getting a little too academic for me. I was like, dude, I got to get the fuck out of here. And then basically what happened is that my choir teacher, he had emailed my mother because he knew that he had heard that I was going to quit. He had emailed my mother and said, hey, this kid can actually go to college for this. I'm not joking. He's like, I put a lot of people in college for this. He's like, if this kid locks it in, he can go to college. And then kind of circling back to the power of my mother, she didn't let me quit. Yep. Yeah, because I was like my freshman year going to sophomore year, and she was like, you're not fucking quitting choir, homie.
You big dummy.
Yeah, she was like, you're staying in this, and you're going to college off of this. Because we grew up, a little bit lower middle class. Nothing too crazy, right? But it was, I mean,
an opportunity to go to college is an opportunity to go to college. I get it.
And we didn't know shit back then. I mean, this is like 2006, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know shit about going to college or FAFSAs or blah, blah, blah. And so my mom forces me to stay in the choir. I'm like, whatever, dude. And then when I get in there, man, that's when shit, it like changed my life. I'm not joking, dude. I started getting serious about the theory. We started doing vocal lessons. We started doing piano lessons. We started, we were in it to win it, not just at school, but all the stuff I was doing outside of school, right? My parents were putting in a lot of money and all this shit. And I'm just going with the flow. Yeah. And I'm like, sure, it's whatever. But like a really definitive moment for when I was like, God damn, dude, this might actually do something for me was when we went to the state tournament. And this is how it goes. So it's called solo and ensemble. And that is the musical equivalent of like a sports playoff. And I'm pretty sure it's called solo and ensemble in every state. And dude, so what you would do is you would compete at a district level. And then if you get through the district level, you compete at a state level. And so we competed at district level I won.
Just bodied it.
Yeah, literally.
Just crushed it.
And then we went to the state level and we started winning state championships.
Okay.
I'm talking about, motherfuckers are talking about
You just
first place. Yeah, they're like, here you go, first place. Here's this, here's these medals, here's these medals. And the state, and the state.
your neck was starting to hurt.
Literally, I was carrying
All that weight. Carrying all that weight.
I was carrying him out there. But fucking the state singing competition was held at Central Washington University, which is in Ellensburg, Washington. And if you want to do anything in music outside of high school, you want to go to this school. Okay, so that's where the state tournament was held. And we went there, dude, and I'm around hundreds, if not thousands, of just musically oriented folks that are so focused on being the best that they can be at their craft. And that's when it all shifted for me. And I was like, wow. So this is what it looks like, right? This is the passion. Because at that point, like I said, I was just going through the motions. I wasn't really that passionate about music.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cool.
just, it was working.
Yeah, it was. It was just like, oh, people said I can do this. I guess I'll do it. And then as soon as I was in that environment, I didn't want to do anything else. And then I committed every fucking day, almost any free time I had was going to this goal of getting me a musical scholarship.
Yeah.
And we do all kinds of crazy, man, that was a crazy time, bro, because we fucking would do these choir tours, and dude, we would go to like San Francisco, they would put us in New York, you know, it was like the best time of my life.
I remember in high school, the choir kids always got to go to the wild places.
It was like, what are we doing here, dude? I'm like sitting at the Statue of Liberty, like, is this just because we sing okay? You know, I was like, damn.
We make words with our mouths good.
I was like, we're not even that great, I don't think. You know, I was like, but I'm standing here at the Statue of Liberty.
Did you ever get to perform in Disneyland?
No, dude. Six Flags, though. Did Six Flags.
I don't know why, but in my high school, that was like a thing. Like, they always reached a point where they were like, yeah, we get to go perform at Disneyland.
That's
I was
so
like, is that
funny.
Is that like a venue you want to be? Apparently it was.
Apparently
it was.
Yeah.
I did not understand as a child.
People are on the Tower of Terror just fucking singing their asses off.
Yeah.
Probably Disney World, but
it's a small world for sure.
I like that. That was a good one. But no, man. So I'm in this environment that is completely catered to musical excellence. And dude, like I said, my school was well known for it. So it wasn't like I was just in some type of janky choir. I mean, dude, there were levels to this shit. And I just happened to fall at one of the higher ones. And so I got lucky in that sense. And we did a lot of competing, man. I have so many fond memories of that time in my life. It's like, I hold it so dear to my heart, not only just for the experiences, but man, what it taught me about music, bro. And like the way I approached music after that, it was I went into it in such a passionate way, you know. And then learning theory, I still fucking hate. So I never got passionate about that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it was just something I needed to know to get to where I wanted to be. And that's how I treated it. And so I think my senior year, I composed an entire song too for our choir to sing.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a 4-part SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, and I composed the whole thing off of my shitty ass keyboard in my house. And I was sick. I was one of them. Also another
A little $100 Casio.
Even less,
It
probably.
only played the bossa nova beats.
Oh my god, the presets, like it just had like. That was it. That was it. Oh man, that kind of gave me goosebumps a little bit. Kind of took me back to a time.
It's a banger for sure.
It is. It's something on the playlist. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
And it's fucking crazy, man, because it's like, so I'm doing all this shit, but the thing that no one really told me was that you also have to have good grades.
Oh, that's, you know,
get to college.
To keep doing school stuff.
Yeah, to keep doing school stuff. I am so fucking stupid at this time, right? I'm like 16 years old. I'm in my whip, dude. I got a car. I'm at the top. I'm on the top of the world, dude. I'm singing. People are fucking thinking that I'm a good singer. Anyone that matters thinks I'm a good singer. And I'm like, I'm gonna crush
Avril Lavigne
it.
texted you at one point. She was like, "Hey, I think you're a good singer."
Yeah, literally, like I'm hanging out. Weezer's hitting me up. I'm just like, the Blue album. I fucking half wrote it, and dude, it's like I'm sitting here, and I'm so oblivious to the fact that school is school.
Yeah.
You know, so I spent so much time investing myself into music and choir that everything else was suffering, and I didn't know, I also didn't really give a shit. So I was just like, dude, if it's not choir, I don't give a fuck. Who gives a fuck? So when I started auditioning for scholarships, every single audition I had, I passed. Every single audition, they were like, "You're it."
Yep.
What's your GPA look like?
You're like, wait, it's a number?
I was like, what's a GPA?
Yeah.
You know?
I was like, it's like a shape like a mix between a J and a Q?
Yeah, it's like, are there two
What?
numbers or one? Which is it?
Do you need the number before or after the decimal?
Because I'll tell you right now, the number before the decimal is a 0. And fucking so, dude, one of my biggest regrets, dude, is I just didn't hone it in because I was stupid. I was a stupid teenage kid who thought that I knew what the fuck I was talking about, dude, and I didn't. I didn't know a single thing. Weirdly enough, I feel like some of my teachers might should have intervened, but that's not really their fault.
Yeah, that's such a tough narrative when they're dealing with 70 times as many of you as you are of you.
I think at that point it was just like I just thought I was more important than I was, right? And so it's like,
oh man, when it's such a weird concept to be able to give like people at that age the ability to decide that like their thing is very powerful. Because it's not to say it isn't. Like there are plenty of people who are very talented at that age, but when you give them the full scope without first introducing them to the understanding of the prospect. Like, as children, our brains just don't process things as full. Like, kids are very quick. Kids, youth, all the people, 20 and under, I guess 18 and under. I don't know where youth stops. But like in that age, like we are very malleable. We are very quick to understand a concept, but it takes time to understand it after that. You know what I mean? Like, and we like, it's tough, like child actors have a bad rap for not all of them, but for a specific reason. Like when you're so young and you just get told you are good at something, you don't have time to find what you think is good. Your ceiling is introduced so early because your threshold is introduced so early because you are introduced to it so much earlier in life.
Yeah, the problem. That's exactly right. And the problem with me was spot on what you just said. And it was very much like, and it wasn't, I didn't find it myself. I think that was like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Was that it was just something.
Thrust upon you.
Yeah. They were just like, okay, you're good at this. This is what you do now.
This is it.
Yeah. And I shaped my entire being to that, and I didn't know what I wanted to do really. Like I said, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do any of this shit. I just was doing it because I was good at it. Yeah. And it was like, it's very much as like, are you a musician because you're good at it, or are you good at music because, you're a musician? Kind of, you know what I mean? It's that philosophical question of like, it's like
chicken or egg.
Chicken or egg.
Yep.
And it was like,
well, then it's hard to do something because you're good at it. You know what I mean? Like not because you want to and you got good at it, but because you happen to be good at it, you should do it.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? And that's the best thing I guess, I wouldn't say the best thing, but that is the most prominent idea that you push on to children is that, hey, you're pretty good at this thing. You should keep doing this thing, And obviously you're a fucking child. Like we said, we were all malleable at the time. So it's like, yeah, of course we're going to do this thing. And then you go through the motions and blah, blah, yada, yada. So needless to say, I hung out at community college for a year. And I sung there too. And that's when I quit everything, I was like, dude, I'm done with this. I was burnt out.
Yeah.
I thought all my efforts had gone to waste. I thought I just wasted like all these years because I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. And dude, I didn't touch music, man. I was like 19 when that happened. And I didn't start making music again until I was 25. So 6 years, there's this whole 6-year gap of where I'm just like, I worked at the post office. I was just a normal Joe Schmo. And that was fine with me, I didn't give a shit. And then one day, dude, I'm hanging out with my buddy Christian and we're cracking some beers at this random apartment party. Mm-hmm. And people start freestyling rap, so they start freestyle rapping and shit. And I was drunk, so I started freestyle rapping. And then I got into like a battle rap with this guy. Unfortunately, bodied him. I say unfortunately because he like was a rapper, and he like did rap, and I fucking hadn't touched music in like 6 years, and I didn't give a shit about it.
Let me ask you a quick question that I'm going to interject for a second.
Yeah.
You say you hadn't touched music, but did you actively listen to music during that time? Like this is kind of it's a very early show concept, but I would love to hear, like, I'm just gonna break this story for a second.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, what was your listening habits during that time?
You know what's jaded and faded.
But like, were you listening to just like radio top stuff? Were you still like deep diving? Were you only listening to stuff like once a day?
At all. Like, I was listening to anything on the radio. Music became very passive to me.
Okay.
You know, I didn't collect any albums. I barely. This was kind of before the streaming, mania that came across. So like, every now and then I'd hear something on the radio and I'd check it out on iTunes or something like that, but nothing crazy. Like, music really did become very passive to me.
Yeah.
And I found that out, honestly, when I was 23 or 24, because one of my friends, she was always trying to put me on to like new SoundCloud people. She was like, Spooky Black was like one of the big ones. Yeah.
Yep.
She was, and I loved that. But she was always putting me on Spooky Black Bear before he was like big, so, and I was like, yeah, these are cool. And she would always be like, what do you think about it though? Like, how do you, she was trying to dive a little deeper into it. And I was just like, it's okay, I guess.
Yeah. Beat slaps.
Yeah. You literally just complete like empty canvas. I really was I felt like I really was like a glass half empty kind of guy at that time, just because I'd put so much effort into something that I loved, or I wasn't sure if I loved.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you were told to love.
Yeah. So I'm listening to this music, man, and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I guess this is cool, And then when I did that thing at that fucking apartment party, my buddy pulls me aside, my buddy Christian, and he's like, yo, I just started learning how to produce on fucking Fruity Loops. We should do something. And Christian had always
a true producer.
Yeah, and he was constantly in bands. He was constantly involved in music. So I will say, like, the people I hung around still made music.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of, I was the bystander, and I just hung out and shit, and I was supporting them. And so my buddy Christian was just like, dude, fuck it, dude. He's like, I just started learning how to produce on FL. Let's start rapping, bro. And this kind of goes back to like where I was when I was a teenager, because I only did that because he said we should do it. I still didn't really have full control of it.
Yeah.
But he was just like, you're good. Let's do it. And all it took was that. And so then I dive in. We get our own place together. We lived at this shithole in Portland, in Northeast, bro. Park Rose, shout out. And it was a frat house, man. It really was. It was sick, and we had tons of parties. But in that party scene, I met my brother forever, bro, Dizzy Monk, aka Essential Oils. He was an amazing producer, insane musician, and guitars was crazy. And he
somehow two good music names.
Yeah,
simultaneously.
Yeah, he crushed it. Right?
Dizzy Monk and Essential Oils.
He was a genius.
Those are both bangers,
dude. He was a genius, and he was way ahead of his time. Like the shit that's coming out right now. I know it sounds like such an old head thing to say, but like shit that's coming out right now, that fool was making in like 2015, and but everyone thought he was weird, And he was a bit hard to get along with sometimes, but me and him really clicked well.
Yeah,
and I would say, is a really, really big influence of like how I came into my own in music. Really, like he taught me a lot of stuff, man. He was really like, he almost saw that I was kind of just doing this shit just because people were telling me to do shit, and he really was asking me the hard questions, like do you want to do this shit, or do you just love that people love that you do it, right? And so he taught me so much, dude. The first time I ever produced anything was on like Reason 6 or Reason 7.
Okay.
And it was because he was using that DAW. And he was like, he literally just told me, he's like, I'm going to go to work. When I come back, have a beat ready.
Okay.
Literally just like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, and that's how he would gauge my commitment to it.
Yeah, just trial by fire.
Yeah. And I did it, And I was like, while I was doing it, I was getting so drunk. And I remember my buddy fucking Sink. He was sitting behind me, and he was just like, why are you doing this? And I was like, I'm not even sure myself. I'm not even sure why I'm putting in this effort. Those small things started building and building and building, and it became this snowball effect of like, why do I keep doing this? It's because I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
Why do I keep growing? It's because I want to keep growing. And that was really instilled in me by my bro Dizzy Monk. Seriously, he's the man. He's in Austin right now. He does like stand up and shit. He's crushing it. He's killing it. But he was very much a pillar in what I am now. So I have to shout him out.
Oh yeah. Shout out Dizzy Monk.
Absolutely. And fucking, so we're like making this music, and I was like a rapper at the time, dude. I was doing like grimy rap. I was a really big fan of Schoolboy Q.
Oh,
yeah. So I was like,
yeah.
So I was talking, about, we were just talking nonsense, and it sucked. It sucked because I wasn't supposed to be a rapper. You know what I mean? It's like I just wasn't. I loved rap, but I just wasn't a good rapper. I don't think, And my original rap name was Von Mugen. Yeah, and you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this because it's taken from Vaughn is taken from an anime called Terror in Resonance, and it means hope, and Mugen is from Samurai Champloo, right? Which means infinite.
Yep.
So that was like infinite hope was the idea of it. Cool name, terrible concept all around. We recorded 3 songs all together as Von Mugen, and dude, the first person that ever recorded me was Mob Rule.
Yo, shout out
to Mob Rule.
Yeah.
My bro, I love that man. He's living in the same house he's fucking been living in as long as I've known him, and him and his boy Jeremy had like a little studio set up, and they were willing to record me. I don't even think we paid anything. That was the first time I ever got introduced to the process of recording my own music. I had no idea what ad-libs were at the time. I'm going to be honest with you. They told me what they were.
Wait, you mean they don't just say all the things at once?
No, literally, they were explaining to me what ad-libs were, and I had a song, and I did like a karate chop. I was like, hiya! Like that was one of my ad-libs. I was like, is that what you're talking about, dude? And they were like, cut that.
No, that's a sound effect, fam.
Yeah, I was like, what? Dude. So they taught me how to record, man. They taught me about ad-libs and dubbing and stacking. And they were doing it all in Pro Tools. Well, yes, exactly. They were doing it all in Pro Tools and shit. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. So we made 3 songs over there. Hella shitty. Super fucking garbage. I mean, dude, they're embarrassing.
If you ever think that your tracks are garbage, I'm gonna share a little bit with you right now.
Yeah.
Give you a little bit of Jimmy. I think I've said this on the show once before, so it's not an exclusive cut, but it's pretty deep. The first experience I ever had with recording, me and my buddy Mike, shout out Mike, wanted to remake the song Got Money. Or Get Money? Got Money? Lil Wayne song?
Oh,
Lil Wayne,
yeah.
And so we took his laptop and went out to his Dodge Neon and got in said Dodge Neon and proceeded to use the laptop microphone to re-record all the parts. And not only did we record the parts, we recorded the parts in parts.
Oh, that's so
it
funny.
Was like we figured out the layers, we figured out the stacks, we did all this, but we did it in the car into the computer's microphone.
That's so funny, bro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so if you ever think your early stuff is bad, it's not. Into a laptop microphone in a Dodge Neon in the middle of the day.
That's what I feel. There's so many stories, right? There are people like Xbox, Xbox headsets. Like
for the record, we bodied that. Yeah, like I may or may not have the stems. I recently got it from a past audio episode. I was trying to put something together, so that I'm not saying that's not available.
Lil Wayne's been real quiet ever since.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hey, actually, you know what? Let's transition back into a format question for a real quick second.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was about to tell you something cool, but it doesn't matter if we don't ask this question first.
Yeah.
What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Yeah, I was like 12 or 13 years old. I bought it from my homie's older brother. It was The Chronic by Dr. Dre.
Okay.
I was a huge fan of West Coast G-Funk at the time. And the G-Funk era was like my era of like, I love that era of rap music.
Do you listen to Desi Hollow?
No. Yeah, no.
Desi Hollow is a fellow an artist, a gentleman who is currently doing like G-Funk.
Really?
Like doing it well.
Desi Hollow.
Okay.
I'm
I'm saying it so that when you watch your episode later, you'll reference back to it and be like, bet.
I got to put down the place.
Shout out Desi Hollow. If you want to be on the episode, or if you want to be on an episode, let's make it happen.
You know where to go. You know what it is.
Yep. Yeah, and Booby Lutavelli, but that's a whole different thing.
Okay. But yeah, man. So that was, The Chronic. I remember blasting that. I had to buy it from my homie's older brother because my parents wouldn't buy it for me.
I was about to say, I love that you bought it from somebody else, not from a store, but that makes sense.
Yeah, so, and I just...
You were fighting capitalism while supporting it simultaneously.
You get it. I'm a comrade. All right. And so... I'm fucking, yeah, dude, I'm blasting this thing, and None But G Thing was like one of my favorite songs of all time, still to this day. And I'm just... I guess I can even think about it too, because that was the time when I started learning like about what like synths were, right? And like them using all those Parliament Funkadelic synths.
I have no idea what those are.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's getting a little synthy in here, but dude, fucking yeah. So I learned about those heavy synths, and that's when I also heard the term sampling, and I was like, "What's that? What's that?" Because my homie's older brother was really into making music too. He was like a DJ and shit, and so he's saying all this shit, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, bro. And then, dude, that was like, I was blasting that album all throughout high school. We were fucking toking weed in the damn elementary school dugouts, drinking 40s, and I was
allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. And this wasn't when they were selling it in the stores. I'll tell you that much. You had to go fucking pick it up from a weird dude in a forest. Allegedly. But but that was my first album. But what was yours?
My first album was The Carter by Lil
Wayne.
Yep,
the first one.
The first one.
I
could do
DJ. That's my DJ.
I could do the entire intro song.
That's so sick. I mean, this is your show, so I wouldn't, you don't have to do it, but I'm just like...
A couple people called me out on it. If you remind me after, I'll do it for you. But I'm not going to do
camera.
I'm not going to do it on camera. No.
Not with the lights on, you know what I'm saying?
That'll be episode 500.
Yeah. That's under a paywall, baby.
Well, I guess we just figured out how we're going to do a paywall.
Oh, there we go.
Jimmy karaoke. Let's go. No. But yeah, like that album... I don't know what it was. It just spoke to me. Like there was something so cool. Like Lil Wayne was doing something so powerful, and I didn't even know his age at the time. I didn't know, but I got that album, and I like sat down. I like listened to it. And I was like, well, like, how is he making these words? How is he doing these things? I never actually dive in to the reason I picked the album. I always just tell people. You
were just enamored with it.
Well,
right?
It like lyrically, he was doing stuff that didn't make sense to me at the time. I was still kind of newer to the concept, but it felt so like loose but decided. And it's, given his style, that makes perfect sense. It was mostly freestyle. It was mostly like in the moments. It was a lot but like he was kind of in that same space. He had been told he was so good for so long that like that was the window of time where his confidence was 100, his charisma was fucking nat 20. But like he was still young. He didn't understand parts of the world, so he just tore into it.
I mean, bro, that album cover is him in like a really tall white tee.
Yeah, it's just him.
Like that just shows you the age. Yeah,
like that's the look. Just
I mean, you kind of look like I thought I was in the room with him.
Oh God!
Wayne, what'd you get here? What'd you get here? It's crazy because at that time too, even rappers didn't know what the fuck he was doing, right?
No.
So it was like even on the inside looking in, people in the industry were like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, it changed the way the game is now, man. A lot of
it's true.
You see a lot of the rappers nowadays, even like huge conceptually like lyricist rappers, they'll still be like Lil Wayne top 10. Like, how could he not be?
I mean, even like regardless of your opinion on his current music.
Yeah.
His track record is so extensive. He used to tour with a full studio in his bus. Like the man put in so many hours. At this point, there is nothing more to gain. He has done it. He has set new precipice. He has created a new foundation. And regardless of your thoughts on his style or his approach or his things, his tenacity stood so strong. And he never really had anything excessively controversial. You know what I mean? Like he stayed in his lane from what, the world knows, and he just did him the whole time. And he found other people who he thought were on point. He created his own foundation. He is well invested. I don't think a lot of people realize he really early on figured out how to have or not early on, because this is the whole thing with the early stuff, but at a certain point,
him and his dad.
Yeah. But at a certain point, he brought in investors. He like either he did or his manager or somebody, and he talks about it. I forget. It was like an interview I read in a magazine, but he like talks about it at one point where he's like, "Yo, I had people start helping me make my money make money, so I don't have to worry anymore." Like,
yeah, he was on his financial literacy shit really early on.
Yeah,
before he like spent it all, right?
Well, I mean, that's a big part. But like, he is very conscious about money stuff. He is very conscious about the world, about sports, about the, like converse. Like, yes, he doesn't know what a koala, or he didn't know what a koala was, but that I mean, what is a koala?
What's a koala? It's a young moolah, baby.
Exactly,
right?
The young Tucci.
And also shout out to like, I mean, we have to put it right now is that, we wouldn't have a Drake without Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, that's facts. So, I mean, you got to look at the stuff he's birthed. Right? Yeah. So.
And I love that he never went away from it. You know what I mean? Like, he never took a moment out of the spotlight. He never took a moment away. And he's always been trying to do kind of his thing, which is respectable. Like, especially, it's weird to say, but at his age, like because he started so young, but like he like leaned into it so hard, he went for so long. Like, if this were the world of sports, his knees would be giving out. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be throwing those fucking 100-yard passes.
He's washed.
Like, well, he just,
he would be watching the world of sports, but he's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's seasoned. Yeah, he has earned his stripes.
Yes, he's truly a master of your craft. He's kind of a great example of like. Of being a master of your craft, of putting in those, however many hours, right? I forget what they say.
10,000 hours.
10,000, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone way beyond that. So,
way beyond.
Yeah.
And he's never, like I said, he's never left his lane. Like, he's always been on it. He's always been very forward and honest about him. There's not a lot of things that you're like, wait, Lil Wayne did what? Like, it just, it just is. And like, I mean, is he the perfect person? No. Are any of us? No. But like, he always was true to what he was doing, and he was always forward about it. Yeah. And like, I mean, yes, did I fall off album conceptually after like the third one?
The Carter 3 is like the last one I've like listened front to back. Well, I did listen to the Carter, was it the fourth or fifth one? The fourth or fifth one that came out in 2019, I think it was, 2018. But it was... Yeah, I mean, it was classic Lil Wayne, Yeah. So if you have to give him that. Is that there is no deviating from. Like,
no, he understands what he's doing.
Exactly.
And now he doesn't really need to. Like, he does it because he wants to. He continues to do stuff because he wants to, but he doesn't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
He has a catalog of music. He has multiple volumes.
Yeah.
Of a concept of album.
I mean, dude, his mixtapes alone are like our other artists' entire discography. And mixtape Lil Wayne was a different beast.
Oh, and he knew that it was.
Yeah, like
No
he
Ceilings, purposely brought it.
The No Ceilings mixtape is like one of the greatest rap mixtapes I've ever listened to. And I like, to this day, I'm like, this is insane. This is insane that this isn't even like technically a studio album. This is just a guy who's just like, I like those beats.
Yeah.
Let me fucking rip them.
Let me do it.
Let me rip them
let
apart,
me in.
dude. Yeah, let me in. That's that. Yeah, that's dude. That's their copyright team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, like it was wild to me as like an early appreciator of music because I didn't understand how close in age we were. At the time I was listening to music. But later on, the reason I like resurged my appreciation because, there was a point in time where I just kind of like, I moved to different genres. I was doing my own thing. Like, we all move in music. But the thing that like really re-solidified it for me was A, when I figured out how close we were in age at the time, but B, when I heard him talk about his mom understanding his level of music. Like, straight up, she was like, oh, like, and I heard this on an interview that he said, so I'm recreating his words. Yeah. But the paraphrase version is that his mom was like, oh, well, you're doing this. Like, I see that you're doing this. And even further past that, like, where you're going isn't exactly safe. Like, going to school isn't exactly the move at the moment anyways. Like, communally, it was just not, and again, in his words, it was not a space to be. So she was like, I would rather you be doing this thing that you love and staying away from the space that I can't even trust. Like, at least in the studio, at least in that space with those people, I can feel confident that you're safe. Like, it's wild to me that there was a moment where, like, his mom chose for him almost, not for him, but like supported his decision because it was the best of the options.
The stamp of approval. And it's,
and he just bodied it. He just crushed it from day one. He started at like 7. Like, that's how far back they said he went.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like a testament too, and you can see it, you can feel it, that he started at 7 years old, right? Because when he's 16, 17 years old, he's at the top of the world.
Well, even crazier, he started as a broom pusher for the studio that he like got picked up in, like Birdman and stuff like that. Like, like he was like, how can I get in here?
Right.
And they were like, you can push a broom, you can clean up, you can run errands, you can be the gopher. And then one day he had a moment where he was like, hey, let me do this. Mm-hmm. And he did it, and they were like,
yep.
Like, out loud, they were like, hey, man, you're fine. But in their heads, they were like, what did we just see?
This kid's about to change the rap
like,
game.
we gotta slow roll this one.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So, like, and like, can you imagine, like, just to be a fly on the wall even, can you imagine the first moment that somebody saw, outside of his family, somebody saw him do what he could do at the age that he was at, and with understanding of the world of music as it had progressed at that time? Because earlier on, like, the progression and understandings didn't exist in the way they did.
Right.
But at that moment, like, to be in that moment and go, oh my God, this kid's got it. Like, powerful.
I imagine it's when they, like, it's similar to like when they, when they appointed George Washington as like the head general, of the resistance. They were just like, this guy's it.
Maybe. That was a very different time. I don't think they were worrying about fire singles.
I feel like the analogy's there. What I'm saying is history changed.
Yeah. That was a moment where a decision defined something. Like, could you imagine if nobody had ever given him the opportunity to do music?
Right.
Like if he had kept going to the places that his mom felt unsafe and an outcome came from, like,
the loss we would have had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the loss we would have never known.
Yeah.
Like,
the music would have never known.
But we do now. And that's, God, just such a talented artist.
Absolutely. I love that you know all these little things about him.
I don't know a ton about a lot of artists, but I actually, like, growing up, there were only a few interviews that I ever, like, read or, like, watched, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell. You're a bit of an a Lil Wayne encyclepedia.
I mean,
right
I have tapped my knowledge. Please don't ask me about anything from the Carter 2 onwards.
Oh, gotcha.
But like I mean, Manny Fresh, I could tell you all about. But like,
put some
anybody
respect
past
on
that,
his name, man.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Manny Fresh. I mean, but like, like.
What was their song? Was it Get a boots when I pimped out Gucci suit. Manny Fresh and Birdman. They got,
but I'm still fly. Hey,
ain't got no rents because all my money's spent. Yeah. That's a banger.
Banger.
Yeah.
There was a time where, like, there was anthem music.
Yes.
Like, where there was, like, it was meant for you to, like, get hyped to get turned up to.
This is the shit they played in stadiums.
Yeah, like people walked out to that music.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Like, it was a different time for sure.
Yeah.
They were the best of times. They were the worst of times. Like, don't get me wrong, Nelly's Band-Aid,
iconic.
It was a moment in time.
Him and that damn fucking. I'll say it now. People call them singlets. I know people, what they call them back in the day, wife beaters and shit like that. You know what?
Do you mean the
tank tops that he was always wearing?
The specific ones where it was like the and then the hard cut, the Mandarin ones or whatever they were. There was something.
I thought they were called. I guess they were called like wife beaters. I didn't know that.
Well, I think that is a dated colloquialism for like tank tops in general.
I thought they were
didn't
called
he have
white
the ones?
beaters. like because they were white.
Oh no, that
Yeah, because I was like, so the whole time I'm like, yeah, those white beaters are sick.
Oh yeah, that I don't think that's what the term was.
No, it wasn't. I was like taking,
but also he wore the strange ones, or like the different ones where it was like I said, there was like the like cloth strip, and then the straight cut across. It didn't have like the bell curve in.
It's like a 50 Cent. When 50 Cent, he was wearing similar ones too, like him and G Unit. They were, and they were also wearing. They were the kind of the first guys I saw wearing bulletproof vests.
Yeah, that was definitely a G-Unit thing.
Yeah.
Or at least a 50 Cent thing.
That was a crazy time in rap and hip-hop. The early 2000s were something.
There was something going on there for sure. Do you remember, was it called Powerballin' by Chingy? Do you remember that album?
Dude, no, I don't. What was the single off of it? I'll probably remember that.
So you're going to hate me because I don't remember the single.
Okay.
But I do remember a very specific song with Lil Wayne called 26s. It was like the second to last track. This is the last Lil Wayne fact I have. But it was during, like, it was, his single was so big. It was...
That's so funny.
All right, we're going to the internet.
Let's tap into it. I gotta know now. Lil Wayne's biggest fan.
Not even that. Again, we're going to Powerballin'. This is a Chingy thing. All right. Holy crap. I thought it was the last track. It was not. I'm just going to hand this to you. This was the album. If you go and look at it, you'll know. I don't even remember what the single was. I was just so fixated on 26s.
My gosh. Chingy, Lil Wayne. David Banner, Nate Dogg's on here.
Yeah. Well, this was during a time.
This is when the big, like all the big rap artists, they would just do shit with each other all the time.
Yeah,
like,
collaboration was huge.
Yeah, like it didn't really matter about like I guess the specs of it, right?
Well,
it didn't really matter what the money looked like either. They were just like, let's all just fucking do it.
Do you remember when Nelly did a track with Tim McGraw?
Yeah, that was my MySpace song. Going over and over again. This is all in my head. Dude, that was my MySpace song.
He knows it. It's a banger. It's a banger. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah.
Dude,
that was definitely a time. That was a time.
Nostalgic. I really am. Seriously. Fuck, man.
And you know what? Since we're in that window of time anyways,
yeah.
Tell us about the first live show you ever went to.
Yeah, dude. It's kind of weird. I went to Brand New. I went and saw Brand New, and they were touring with Joyce Manor at the time, and that was like the first one that I like paid to go see. I was like, oh, this is fucking sick. And they were playing at I think it was the Crystal Ballroom. And so, yeah, I went there. I hung out. It was a great time. I was really hip to Brand New at the time. This was like 2013, something like that, 2013. And I loved them, and it was a great show.
Hell yeah.
That was the first live show. What about you?
Oh, my first show that I like... So I'm not going to pick like the local show as like the first one because I went and saw like...
That's what I didn't do either.
Yeah, I mean like I saw NVS, shout out Northern Valley Suicide, the Muckruckers, crazy show. But the first like real show that I ever wanted to go to that I like finagled tickets, got them, went to them. I convinced a friend of mine who went to a different high school that she should skip school on the same day that I skipped school to go to this show. We like drove up to San Francisco together.
Nice.
And it was in order. This is the order that the show was played. It was the Black Keys, Motion City Soundtrack, and Panic at the Disco.
How much did those tickets cost?
And they were touring during the Pretty Odd time. It was for the Honda Civic tour. The tickets were like $30.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was a tiny space.
That's insane.
Like this was such an odd time for theirs. I got to meet. No, I'm sorry. The order was actually Motion City Soundtrack, Black Keys, Panic at the Disco. That's what it was. Oh. But I got to like meet not Panic at the Disco, Motion City Soundtrack.
Dude, that's so sick.
Yeah, like if you go watch Signed Rosie's episode, I'm not putting it in this one because I already did it once, but somewhere in her episode, there is a picture of me with them when I was in high school.
Righteous.
Yeah, yeah. Man. But like that was like the first like show that I was like, oh, these tickets. We made it happen. Left school.
That's so fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, it was It was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild for sure.
How could it not be?
All right, now let's move into you
Yeah.
as more of the like the personality and the presence that you put out. Because like music is clearly a big part of it, and we're definitely going to dive into that. But there's a lot of stuff that you do. But the first thing I'm going to ask you, how did you pick your name?
Oh, it's my name. It's part of my last name. So yeah. Okay, let's go on and say it. So my full name is Bo So Kimi.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. So and my homies would just call me Kimi growing up, and then I used to release music under the name Bo So Kimi, which in hindsight I might go back to doing like random stuff under that name because I'm the only Bo So Kimi in the world. Yeah, like literally the entire universe.
I don't know another one.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I know that because there's no other Sokimi family that exists besides mine. Yeah, it's a very, very unique name. If you Google me, I will pop up. I've done it.
I'm a big deal on the internet.
Yeah. No, it's like it was one of my. It's funny we were talking about like the Tinder thing because one of my jokes on Tinder when I was on it was like, Google me. That's how you'll know. And like people and dude, chicks would literally be like, "Is this really you?" Because I'm the only one that's gonna pop up in that entire search, and it's hella funny. But anyway, so Bo So Kimi, I was releasing music under that for a little bit, but it just didn't roll off the tongue. You know what I mean? It sounded a little too like indie pop, and I wasn't doing that, you know. So
you strike me as a shoegaze fellow, personally. Just
yeah, I'm staring at some shoes, all right. And dude, I'm like, so I was doing that, and then finally, to be honest with you, I was going under Kimi for a while, and then my boy Hayes, shout out to Hayes, he was like, "Yo, dude, there's like a bunch of guys named Kimi, like, you know, in the fucking ether. Don't you want to change it?" And me being like stupid, I was like, "That's cool. I'll just be like the best Kimi there is."
So that's dumb, not how that works sometimes.
Clearly. I mean, that's that's not how it works like at all ever really. And then fucking so I'm doing this, and then finally I link up with Lord Lawrence, and we start making music together. Yeah, hey.
Shout out Lawrence, what's up?
That's my brother for real. We linked up and we started making music together, dude. And then I pitched him that idea. I was, "Hey, what do you think about this, King Kimi?" Just because I like the alliteration of his name, and it was just a funny play on like the royalty shit.
Yeah,
you know. And then he was like, "Dude, that's sick." And I was like, "Okay, cool, let's do it." And then we just pumped that out, and that's how I've been ever since, King Kimi. It's hella funny. People like. I don't know if people play into this just because like it's like I'm like a likable person and they just like me, but people will always just like be like, "Hey sire," like hey king, you know, like shit like that. And I love it personally because I think you know I think they're just playing into it because like I said, like we're just like I'm like homies with them, and that's like, you know, it's a likable thing.
Yeah.
And I'm never ever like, "I'm the king," you know, "I'm the king," you know, it's like so corny. So, but yeah, so King Kimi, that's how it all came about, man. It was literally just like me having like a drunk conversation with Lord Lawrence, now that I think about it.
I mean, yeah. Shout out Lord Lawrence.
Shout out to Lord Lawrence, yeah. It was yeah, that was a good time. I went through 5 names, right, until I could land this one, and this one's sticking for a while, so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're in it to win it.
And then take us through like your writing process. When you put a song together, what do you do to start a song, and what do you do to decide a song is finished?
Yeah, good question. Well, one, we're gonna find the instrumental, right? Whether that be by a producer I know or getting on YouTube. Just to divvy off for this for 1 second, there's just such a stigma around people using YouTube beats, okay? And I've always been like, dude, fuck that, you know? If you don't know anyone that can make the music that you want to make, and if you can't make it yourself, there's a completely accessible website that has everything you could possibly need. So if there's anything I could say to any like upcoming artist or someone that wants to get into it, do not be ashamed to use YouTube type beats, okay? Especially if you're making shit that no one around you is making. In fact, that's exactly what you should be doing, you know? So anyways, so find an instrumental. And then I am very much a melodic heavy guy, you know, so I'll lay down the melodies, and like if I pull it, you know, I'm on Logic, I'll pull up the instrumental, and like if I can't get like a really good hook in like 10 minutes, I'll just scrap the whole thing. It's just like a thing, you know what I mean? I'll just it's over with, because me personally, I'm trying to make replay value music. Like I'm trying to make music that's hook heavy, super duper unique and catchy melodies. And then that's my focus in songwriting. And then after that, as soon as I find like solid melodies and harmonies, I basically just start filling it in with verbiage and making sure syllables fit right. As far as the content that I'm creating, as far as the songwriting in general, the lyricism, it will always be like very. Here's the formula. I'll just give the whole formula. I was gonna say it, but here's the whole fucking formula. Is that I start out the song slow, okay, and I go every 4 bars. I switch up the cadence and I gradually build, and that's it. That's
the whole map.
That's the whole fucking.
That's the kit und caboodle.
There it is. I laid it out for everybody because then it just all it does is that it creates a dynamic contrast with everything, right?
Yeah.
And that's all I need. I just need to build and build and build and make sure everything's good. So the first verse will always start off slow, always. And then we continuously build. We'll get the hook, and the hook is going to be a fucking hooker, or else I didn't release it. And then the second verse is when I start really tapping in, and we'll keep going. I basically just don't let up. So once I hit the hook, the first hook, I just don't let up. And we just keep it high, high energy, high cadence. And then, like I said, as far as the verbiage is concerned and the lyricism, I'm constantly writing about one main thing is just my love life, really, because that's kind of where everything is derivative from. That's where all my passion. I'm like a passionate person, and like the most emotion I've ever felt has always been through my relationships. So I'm constantly writing about and I have a lot of highs and lows when it comes to my relationships, so I'm just constantly filled with content. And yeah, man, it's that's it. That there it is. There's the sauce for everyone that's been wanting it. All right. So yeah, that's and as far as like what it takes for it to be done is my brother, Big Dog Colin Cooley, a shout out to him. He's like the producer engineer at Opal Royalty. And he's the one I work with mainly. And we're just tossing it back and forth. That's all it is. It's like sending off the stems to him sending me the stems back, me doing that for about 3 days until we get right. And then we'll do like the sound testing off the different platforms. So we'll go into a car, test it, go into a Bluetooth speaker, test it, go into shitty fucking Apple headphones, test it. And we do all this to make sure we encompass something similar across all platforms. And then, dude, when it's done, it's the happiest day of my life. Because I don't even want to fucking hear it anymore. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I've listened to it 1,000 times at this point. Colin's listened to it even more. And like, it's so funny making this music because people are like, "Oh man, you must have been in a great headspace making this." It's like, dude, I was miserable making this, and it's like such a happy song, and it's just like me talking about how fucking awesome life is, and I'm just like, this sucks ass. All of this sucks ass. But that's the work you put in, right? And so,
it's true.
When it's finished is when me and the engineer say it's finished. So
love it.
Yeah,
love it. All right, now I want to dive into something that I think everybody's going to enjoy hearing about just a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell us about this sweet little pop duo that you and the Lord himself have going on.
Man, we started that thing years ago, and that's how we met. Really, was that he came to my house because I was living at like a party house at the time, and we had mutual friends. And he came to the crib, and he had just started making like the music that he starts making now. Airplane Mode was a single that he had put out that people were really buzzing around, and they were like, "What the hell is this?" And he was working on a lot of music. And dude, he was such a cool guy. Like, he was such a nice dude.
He is a cool guy.
He's a great person, man. He was such
Shout out Lord Lawrence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my brother forever. He was such a nice person, and he was so down to earth, and he was just down to work with anybody. It didn't matter who. I was nobody at this time. I mean, as far as like being in the local scene, I'd done no shows. The music I was putting out.
You're somebody in the eyes of the Lord.
I'm
sorry. That one's just for you, Lawrence.
No, that was a good one.
That one's just for you. That one's just for Lawrence. Sorry, I had to one time.
No, you crushed it. That was a great one. I appreciate it, honestly. But no, so yeah, I was putting out music 2016, 2017, but it wasn't like hitting really because I wasn't in the scene. Like I wasn't going to events. I didn't know people who would get me shows.
I get that.
You know? But then when I met Lawrence, bro, everything changed for me. It really did. Like we've had this conversation so many times too. When I met him, he was just so willing to work with us and me and Dizzy Monk. And so we started just jamming, and we made a couple singles before we started the pop duo. We went to 11 Studio, shout out to 11, and we were just making good music. And then one day we're at my crib, bro, and we're fucked up. Like I'm fucked up. Like I'm drunk as shit. We're doing all kinds of weird drugs, allegedly, and then fucking. All of a sudden, he just like pulls up these beats and he's like, dude, what do you think about this shit? I was like, yeah, that's pretty sick, actually. And they were very like, all of them were like Dua Lipa type beats, you know, like these huge pop Miami, Miami bass. Like it was insane, you know, and we're like, oh, what's this, you know, and we're like, oh, let's try it out. Calvin Harris type beats, you know?
Yep.
And we're like, let's try it out. And then we started recording the shit in my bedroom. And it was just for fun. We had no real idea, but then as we're recording it, dude, people are like kind of coming in and out, and then people start coming in and they start staying in.
Yep.
And they were like, "What the fuck is this?" And we're like, "We don't know." And so what we did, bro, was we got out of our minds, fucked off, and we spent like an entire weekend and we made 5 tracks. We made a 5-track EP in that entire weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, and dude, my roommates who had been out of town and they came back. And they came in, they were like, what'd you guys do? Make like one song? We're like, yo, check out this 5-track EP we actually just busted out. And dude, the look on their faces, and these were good guys to have as mile markers because they didn't give a shit about the music I made.
Yeah.
And they were kind of haters, to be honest with you. But those are the best judges you want. And dude, they were like, eyes bugged. They were like, yo, this is something crazy, right?
Hell yeah.
And then we were like, fuck, I guess it is. And dude, we were such shitheads. We didn't have no money. We were using the beats, they still had the fucking producer tags in them. And we recorded them like that and mastered them like that. We didn't pay for any of them, dude. Shitheads, dude. And we were like, fuck, I guess we'll put it out, whatever. And then we came up with a name, and it was called Angel Cake. And that was our pop duo name. And dude, when I say we put this out, relative to who we were on the scene and relative to like what the plays we got as individuals, this blew it out of the water. Like this duo blew everything we had done out of the water. And we talk about it to this day. And I'll say right now, Lawrence will tell you the truth too. We talk about all the time how Angel Cake was the best thing we have ever done, better than anything we've ever done individually. And we talk about it to this day. And that was 5 years ago. Okay, and we bumped this out, and then when we start doing all of these shows, you know, people are like, we want Angel Cake here, we want Angel Cake here, we want Angel Cake here. And we're like, fuck yeah, you know, we're like
yeah.
Fucking yeah, we're righteous. You know, you guys fucking inviting us, you guys giving us free drugs, you guys giving us fucking booze all day, like, we'll play all these shows, you know. Obviously, that lifestyle fizzled out on us because, you know, it's just not sustainable.
Yep.
Yeah. But these days, we're looking at making a comeback. We've demoed out the songs already. We've got a 5-track EP. Okay, our last EP was called Baby Blue. This one's called Royal Blue. We've got all the demos set. We're ready to go into the studio to finalize everything. The thing is that we want to push. See, Angel Cake for us was always a fun side gig to what we did normally.
Yeah.
And that's how we treated it. Mm-hmm. But that's why, honestly, it was more successful than some shit we were doing, was just because it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Kind of goes back to like this conversation we were having off camera when it was like, man, we just remembered that making music was fun.
Yep.
And it was like, fuck, dude. And then all of a sudden the magic happened.
Yep.
Right? And so this time around, honestly, we got fucking gold. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'll say it right now. This time around, we're striking oil. Okay? Some of the shit we're doing in here, I was like, oh, dude, you know, and but the thing is holding us back too is the fact that we know it's good. So now it's become the rollout.
Yeah.
Right? How do we get this in the right ears? And now it's becoming a process, and we're so back and forth of like, we just did this for fun, you know, so fuck it, let's just run it out. But we are in the works of it. Everything's coming in together. The thing is like, it's such a, we know what we're doing, you know, so we don't want to drop this shit in the winter. This is a summer album, you know? So we're looking to film some stuff. Just know that things are coming, and it's gonna be silly when it drops.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be silly, and it's like I said, some of the best shit I've ever personally made. And I think if Lawrence was sitting right next to me, he'd agree as well. And it's just two brothers doing what we love, and that's why that's why we can't step away from it. It's been so long because people even to this day will go into our DMs, man, and be like, "What was up with that angel cake? What was up with that angel cake?" And that kind of keeps us there a little bit,
No, I feel that.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you go ahead and tell us about a new single, I believe, that you have coming up in September.
Yeah, September. I'm gonna drop a single, okay, and it's called Keeper, and it's just one of the many fucking shitty demos I've had on the back burner. But all of this has really enticed me and just kind of lit the flame under me. And I'm like, dude, I gotta get back to making this music shit. There's a bunch of people that probably don't even know I make music, and it's like, damn, dude, my last album dropped. It'll be a year in September. So, and that was a great project for me. And dude, a lot of people were into it as well. I got really great feedback. Mm-hmm. And so I want to get back to that feeling, not necessarily the validation. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think as all artists do, we do seek some form of validation.
It's definitely nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, I just want to do it. Here's the thing with me, man, is that I keep stepping away from stuff like this, but I keep coming back.
Yep.
So there has to be something here. And it goes back to all these conversations we've had earlier. It's like, man, I'm just doing this shit because I want to do it, because I love to do it. I'm going to probably keep making this fucking music until I'm 50, 60 years old. You know what I'm saying? But I love that about me. So no matter how long I step away from the scene, I'm always like 1 foot in the door.
Yeah.
So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's go ahead and move on to some hypothetical questions.
Fucking hit me with them.
If you could work with any one artist who's currently alive, and if it's a member of a group or a band, you have to pick one member of the group, who would it be?
It's just a K-pop group called Twice, and they're a 9-member group. But the girl I work with, her name's Jungyeon, and she's one of their lead vocalists, and she's like some of the best vocals I've ever heard.
Okay.
Right? And she's also my favorite member. So I just saw them live at the Tacoma Dome. And
okay.
They ripped. They ripped Twice. But she has such a sultry and beautiful and full voice, dude. And I would, like I said, she's like my favorite member. So, dude, if I could ever be in the studio with her, oh my God, it'd be a dream come true. I wouldn't even need to like be making music with her. I could just like go drop off the Uber Eats to her or something. You know what I mean? I just want to be there. I just want to be in the scene. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So Jungyeon from Twice, one of the best K-pop girl groups of all time.
Bet.
Yeah.
Now, subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't had a chance to connect with yet, but you would like to?
2 names pop in right immediately. There's an artist named Alana Rich, and she makes easily the best pop music I've heard in the city. Easily. I mean, she's got this song called Savor. This shit sounds like it was made in the Hollywood Hills with Scooter Braun. Like it is a high production value.
Yep.
And she's got an amazing voice. So yeah, she's an amazing pop artist. Alana Rich, numero uno. If I could, oh my God, it'd be awesome to be in the studio with her. And then another one that just immediately popped up is this artist named Tatiana. And she makes very soulful R&B music, very much akin to like SZA, her, Kalani.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, man. So she's a gorgeous voice too, man. I'd love either one of them if I could ever be in the studio with, because those are my roots, really, pop and R&B. So it's like if I can ever be around artists that are making that music, because I feel like I'm always around artists that like aren't making that music these days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but that's just the scene and shit like that. That's where I'm at right now. But if I could ever work with those two, Alana Rich and Tatiana, they're 10 out of 10. Such great musicians.
Hell yeah. Solid choice.
Yeah.
Now, if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or power or building stability, none of that.
Yeah.
But if you could perform music anywhere in the world, where would you perform?
There's a country called Bahrain. And it's situated. It's an island country in the Persian Gulf, situated northeast coast of Saudi Arabia. I only know about this because I had buddies that were stationed there in the military. And Bahrain is like the Las Vegas of Saudi Arabia. It's where people go to do things that aren't necessarily allowed in the Islamic faith. All right. And so they go there. It's like Sin City. And this dude, if you look at pictures of this place, it looks like something out of a sci-fi book. The architecture is astounding. They have a huge man-made lagoon in the middle of this city.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, man. And, or in the middle of this fucking country. It's humongous. And in the middle of that lagoon is a Four Seasons.
Okay.
And
okay. I mean, you know.
Yes.
Location.
Yeah, man. They can do whatever they want with that oil money, baby. You know, so I would love to do, like, legitimately, it just would look so sick aesthetically, and it would be so over the top, like, beyond the world, you know, larger than life type shit, to do like a floating concert in that lagoon. Like, that would be insane. That's
a great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very very dialed, very specific. I like it.
I appreciate it. I mean, fucking, that's, I'm getting, my heart's fluttering just thinking about it. Yeah.
I love that.
Great question.
All right, now we've got one last hypothetical question before we start wrapping it up.
Okay.
If you had to pick a completely different genre than any other genre you performed before. So if you've done like a cross track or anything like that, you can't pick either of them. But if you had to pick one you've never performed before and you would be equally as proficient as your primary one now, what would you pick?
Country. Because country is pop. That's all it is now. Now, old country is a different story. We can talk about that. But new country right now is pop music.
You know,
and so
somebody said, I can't remember exactly, I'm paraphrasing a past interview, but somebody said that people who write country write it for the listeners. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they're writing music that the people want to get behind.
Yes.
And I like that. I thought that was a really cool take on it because, yeah, like you could still tell your own story, but there is a lot of ghostwriting in country music, like a lot of other genres as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I just love that they were like, yeah, this is the music that their audience wants to hear, so they wrote it.
Yeah.
I was like, that, you know what? Like in many other genres that wouldn't hit, but that kind of hits. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
The transparency there, right? It's just like,
I've only ever been to one country concert, like ever, and I get it.
Yeah.
I get, like, I hate to say, but their performance were bangers.
Dude.
Everything was just hype.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, dude. And the shit that they're making now, especially, is so catered to a mass audience, bro. Like, it is like the hooks that they're using, the melodies that they're using. This is catchy shit.
Oh yeah,
you know, this is pop music, bro. Like, it is. It's incredible to see,
and it's refined.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Oh man, you know, I don't remember. I never remember who sings this, even though it's such a prominent main song. What's the I dug my keys into
the car?
Is that
feet up 4-wheel drive?
Yeah, my name into his letter C. Yeah, like that track. Oh my God, who is that?
It was something. Was it Carrie?
Oh, is it Carrie Underwood?
Carrie Underwood, I think it is.
I think so. Yeah. All right, so yeah, like, you know, like, catchy.
That's what I'm.
That track grabs me. I don't remember the names of too many artists. There's so many, but.
Maybe he'll think the next time for he cheats. Something like that, right? Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. It's like, this is catchy music. Like, this
and it's good situational observations. Like, you go and listen to that whole song. She's telling the visual narrative really well.
It's very descriptive.
Really well. Yeah. She's like, oh, he is teaching her how to play pool. He is doing that one thing he does. She is doing that thing where she's responsive to the thing that he's doing. You're like, all right, wow, you can see this.
Didn't need the music video.
No.
Yeah, here we are.
Wait, there's a music? No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, like, you know, there's an interesting narrative in country music for sure. So that makes perfect sense.
100%.
All right, but we're going to officially wrap things up. And why don't you go ahead and tell us about what you have coming up in the near future? Let's say like September and onwards.
Yeah, so we are going, I'm going to be releasing a single in September. what I'm doing right now is I got a podcast with my boy Maximili, Kimi's Kickback on all platforms. Please go check it out if you haven't already. We're just a bunch of silly ass gooses doing silly ass shit.
It is pretty fire.
Thank you. I want to do a quick shout out if I could.
Save it. Okay. There's a section for that.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So before we get into that,
okay,
why don't you go ahead and tell people how they can connect with you? Give us the ads, the plugs, things like that.
Yeah, it is King Kimi on every platform around. IG, Twitter. I'm using Twitter quite a bit, and I'm an absolute menace on there. So if you like shit posting and if you like just comedy straight up, go follow me on Twitter, IG. Go follow Kimi's Kickback on Instagram, and yeah, that's it.
Hell yeah! And then any other plugs, any other shout outs,
yeah.
Anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Yeah, dude. Listen, I got a bit of a list here. Okay, I'm just gonna start throwing out names.
Go for it.
Here we go. First and foremost, I got Opal Royalty, My Brothers Forever, Big Dog Colin Cooley, Maximili 1 in a Million, my brother Lord Lawrence. I'd like to thank Mob Rule, the first person who ever recorded me. I shout to you, brother. Pace Moccasin, an amazing producer. Everyone go check out his band, Live Alone. And honestly, that is it. That was kind of that was it. That was it.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I'm sorry. Shout out to every artist I've ever worked with. Shout out to you. Shout out to Celestia. Everyone go check her out. She's awesome. Shout out to Simone French. Everyone go check her out. She sounds like freaking Etta James. And and shout out to anyone that's ever fucking listened to anything I've ever done or just enjoys me. Shout out to Toxic, who's always got kind words for me. Thank you guys so much.
Hell yeah. All right, now we've got one last question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, hit all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And that being said, the final question. What is your guilty pleasure song?
Everyone answers this the same way. I don't have any guilty pleasures because I like everything, right? But I will say this: if I did have a guilty pleasure, if I wasn't so transparent about things, I would hide the fact that I love K-pop. But I fucking love K-pop so much, and I'm so out there with it. But my favorite K-pop song ever is by my girls, Twice, and.
Shout out Twice if you ever want to be on the show.
Yay! But fucking so shout out to Twice, and that is my favorite K-pop song ever. Is probably a song called Moonlight by them.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we're going to officially wrap things up.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a blast in the glass.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here, y'all. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Kimi.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.